All right, so I was kind of doing my thing throughout the day, and you know, when I have something like this, it's always running in the background when I'm at work doing my actual job and those types of things. So, you know, my initial thoughts are either, I think it's probably most likely a bad transistor, and I don't know what transistors are in here. I need to pull up the service manual. I did pull up the power amp schematic, and I'm not sure if this has known bad transistors or not. Yeah, I can't really tell. Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, so I'm thinking bad transistor, bad solder joint, right? So, a cracked solder joint somewhere. I'm leaning more heavily towards a bad transistor. So what I'm going to do is, so looking at the signal path, right? So here's the relay. So, right, so signals fed into the relay, senses whether or not there's excessive voltage on it, and then it does its thing, right? So what I'm going to do is, there are some voltages posted here. There aren't a lot. So I'm going to go through here and figure out what voltages I can actually test for. Test for those, but I also want to see where maybe I get some erratic, right? Some erratic voltages. Yeah, it looks like we've got, gosh, there really isn't any, there isn't much to go on. Yeah, there's not much to go on at all. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of poke and prod and see if I can first identify these transistors, see if I can figure out where they are. I've got a voltage here, I got a voltage here. Again, this is not my favorite service manual in the world. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'll let you know what I find. And we are going to have to pull the board regardless, but I want to do this at least see if I can get some type of idea where the issue might be, what transistor might be causing the problem. So I'm going to speed through that, let you know what I find. Yeah, you know, I think that's not going to be a very fruitful expedition. So what I'm going to do is just pull the board and do it that way, because I do see several transistors with tarnished, kind of the black tarnished legs. So, whoops. So I believe we have some problem. Transistors in here. Now what in the hell? You know, it's amazing how a screw will disappear, right? It hit the bench. You heard it hit the bench. And where did it go? This house. Oh, here, way over here. Like it shot 4 feet in the other direction. That's amazing. All right, so what I'm going to do is, you know, today might not be the day for this. When it starts out like this, where I've got screws mysteriously flying across the bench and speaker wires trying to grab the equipment, it may just be a day to maybe go find something else to do. Alright, so I'm going to remove this board. I think I'm going to have to disconnect the outputs. Wait, or, you know, I'm on second thought, maybe this whole assembly comes out. Let's try that first. I'm wondering if I can just unscrew the heatsink and pull this out that way. I'll have to disconnect it. Let's see. Again, I haven't had to go this deep into a Kenwood 11 before. And I still have to dust this out. I still haven't dusted it out, as you can tell. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrestle with this, figure out a way to make my life a little bit easier here in terms of looking at this amplifier board. And I will, I'll speed through that and come back. Now, how much sense does that make? Kenwood. The dial pointer lamp wires go to the amplifier board. Genius. Absolute genius. What? How dumb. I mean, how incredibly dumb. Why would you do that? I mean, maybe I'm being a little bit overly frustrated here with that. But why would you do that? Why would you not? Whatever. Dumb. Just dumb. Black went to 31, white went to 32. So now let's see about moving this out of the way. And I really wish that I didn't have multiple projects going on right now. But while I got about 30 minutes this morning, I might as well take advantage of it, and while I'm waiting for parts to come in on another project. This Kenwood 11, that's an unnecessarily large receiver, in my opinion. I do like how this seems like it's going to be a little bit easier to mess around with. Alright, so let's see what we got going on in terms of transistors. 2SA, 7, and 945. And this is the one that I'm curious about. I don't know where that is in the schematic, but is it 1890? 1890. I think some of these, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like an 1890. And then 2SA 913 and 2SC 1913. Take a look though first at the status of the solder joints before we start nothing jumps out. But they are sometimes hard to find, oh, maybe. No. My head in the way. No, I don't. Huh? Man, I got a couple of questionable looking solder joints, but I don't see anything that jumps out. But I think there has been work done on this side of the board, possibly. Okay. So let me, I'm going to pull up my problem transistor list from Audio Karma, see if any of those are on it. Alright, at a minimum, I'm going to pull the 1890s because they have that, the kind of the black legs, the tarnished legs. And I've got two here, two here. So I'm going to pull those, replace them with some KSC 1845s. Just want to make sure I get them all. I think those are the only two. I don't know that those would cause that issue. They might contribute, but... So, anyway, I'm going to pull those. And then I'm going to test them. I'm going to see what's going on with those transistors when I pull them out. Didn't realize I was not recording. I already didn't have the board in the frame. I apologize for that. So I just want to compare these two. Oh, wait, that's a 2SA 893. I couldn't see what it was, so I just want to look at this one. So the 1890, let's test it. And I want to compare it to 1845. NPN 550 current gain. I think that's quite a bit higher than an 1845. Yeah, 412. Oh, I want to see the pinout too. See if this is emitter collector base. So red, green, blue. Oh, now it's 568. Red, green, blue. Emitter, collector base. All right. So same orientation. The legs. So I'll pop that in there. And I also want to remove the one on the other side. Yeah, so it's that one. Alright, let's see what's going on with this one. So this is the other side. I'm just kind of curious. I'm going to replace them both. $623. Alright. Interesting. I gotta find a sub for that other one. So I'm gonna click away for a minute. I can find a sub for the, what is that, 2SA 893. I replaced those transistors, and let's fire it up and see what happens. I've got it reassembled. My battery's kind of running low, so I'm gonna have to charge after this segment here. So I may be doing some farting around with this off camera. But let's see. Hopefully no smoke, no fire, no anything crazy. Let me see what this dim bulb does. Let you see as well. All right. Fire in the hole. All right. Oh, I see the pulsing. And there's the pulsing. Yep, and there's the clicking. Luckily, this is kind of easy to get apart and put back together, so I was cool with kind of popping that out and seeing what was going on. So those were not the problem, but kind of as a rule, right, if you see transistors with that black coating on the legs, right, you want to remove them. So thought, well, what the hell, tried that out. And I really didn't think that was going to work, because if you look at those transistors I replaced, I mean, I don't know that they would I don't know that they would cause the issue that we're seeing. Is basically what I'm trying to say. It wouldn't make sense that those were the issues. So I'm going to pull that board out again. Again, I'll probably do some poking and prodding off camera and figure out what needs to be done next. It looked good there for what, 15 seconds, and then it went right to acting like a goofball. In fact, I'm gonna clean this board up too. So anyway, I'll keep poking and prodding and pick it back up once I get this battery charged. Well, I believe I got it working. And I'm gonna save you. I didn't film this, the camera was charging, and this is actually the next day, and I just kind of jumped into this. Started working on some stuff. Excuse the heater, but we were teased with an early spring, but winter is back today. It snowed and it's cold. So let me explain to you what I did. I'm gonna replace the same components on the other channel. I may recap this board. I'm not sure. I wanted to get it working though beforehand. So let me explain to you what I did, how I kind of got to the point I got to, and I'll be honest with you, troubleshooting protection circuit issues kind of tough. So for me anyway. But what I had done is I had narrowed it down to a handful of transistors, right? And it was either solder joint or transistor. So what I did is I started pulling and testing. Well, actually, let me take a step back. First, I checked voltages, and they were crazy all over the place. As it would click, and the relay would come in and out, all sorts of crazy voltages. I would measure crazy voltages all over the place. So what I did was I pulled the amplifier board out, and I would test, just with a multimeter, just to see if any of these transistors kind of looked weird. None of them did. So then I just started pulling them and testing them. And as I pulled them and tested them, if there was a better substitute, I just put a sub in, right? Because if I'm going to pull them, I might as well sub them. Then what I did was, as I would replace each transistor, or maybe pair of transistors, I would test it to see if that happened to be the component, because again, nothing was coming up as being bad. So I replaced 2 and 4, QE2, QE4, or Q2, Q4, no change. Q16, Q18, no change. Q6, Q8, When I pulled them both tested good, right? But Q8 had a really high gain. Now, it may be that transistor is supposed to have a really high gain. I replaced it. I think Q8 was the, oh gosh, which one was it? It was either the 2SC1885. No, Q6 was the 2SC1885. Q8 is the 2SC1890. Again, both of them had actually this had low gain, and this had high gain, like really high gain. So I replaced them with a suitable sub. I think it was a 2690 for this one, and I think it was an 1845 for this one. So I don't know which one of the two, but again, when I throw them on my tester, other than the gain kind of being a little crazy, they both tested as transistors, but then when I replace them, and I'll show you, here's the dim bulb. Let me shield that. I may have volume up, but maybe I'll play a little bit of sound. It's on FM right now. Dim bulb flashes, goes out. And I have sound. Okay. So, now I'm not going to do bias or anything like that until I figure out just how far I'm going to go on the amplifier board. This is pretty easy to take in and out, which I really appreciate. So if I was complaining about that, I don't think I was. In fact, I think I was saying that's a pretty good thing. I do have to reattach the dial pointer wires when I'm done, but yeah, so it's working now. And again, I kind of shotgunned it a little bit. I don't really like doing that, but again, I'm not real good at troubleshooting protection circuit stuff. And this one, again, everything looked good, kind of in circuit. So what I'm going to do now is finish up whatever I'm going to do to this board. I'm going to replace the transistors with subs on this side, and I may go through and recap it. I did test some of these caps, and I didn't pull them out, but in circuit they all looked okay. I know this is an old receiver, so but I don't know how far I'm going to go with it. Again, this is not mine, so I don't. It's all what someone wants to pay for it. In terms of what I'm going to do, I've got a cap here that looks kind of crazy. So I don't know, but it's now coming out of protection, and I now have sound, so that is good. So I think, yeah, I'll end this part, figuring out this protection issue, and then I will pick it up with whatever I decided to do with the amplifier board, because I want to call this good. I want to call it done, and then yeah, then we can talk about what we're going to do next. I'm going to pull this out. I think do it at a minimum, clean it, and like I said, replace those components. So, as always, if you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.